events, like the plot line, the events, the story. I will not be divulging any of that. It'll be spoiler free. But like in regards to pacing and overall themes and what I liked versus didn't like, that is what I'll be talking about. So if you want to be like totally surprised about everything in the experience of reading the story, I would not watch this video. Yeah, but if you don't mind kind of knowing the vibe or like just my opinions, then I hope you enjoyed this video. I had to put that disclaimer. Okay, just right off the bat, this is an amazing story. Suzanne Collins, it's clear that she took her time. She didn't rush this. She really thought about it and was very intentional, which I appreciated. I think it's easy with a popular series for writers to be pressured into doing more, coming out with more, and all that. She didn't. I think she sent a message that this is something she thought about, took her time with, and like didn't rush. That's like the first impression I got. It almost like seems like she had this planned while she was writing the original story, which who knows, maybe not, but either way, that is a sign of an incredible writer, in my opinion. I think this is her best one yet. I think out of the 4 books, the 3 originals and this one, I think this takes the cake, y'all. Like, it takes the cake. I was enraptured beginning till end. I was constantly surprised over and over again. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels complete. I think with a trilogy, you know, neither book is a whole. Like, it's one of 3 parts, which is great and fun, but this was truly beginning, middle, end. Nothing left, no questions, like a complete story all in one. There's something about standalone stories, even in like fandoms, that I love, or even in worlds, if that makes sense. So that was my first overall feeling. Very intentional, very complete. It had everything I wanted. Next, the way the story moved. Like, I thought the majority of the story was going to take place at like one section of time, but that wasn't the case, and I'm so happy about that. Like, I'm so happy it wasn't what I expected it to be. There were so many more scenes and scenarios and like locations that I didn't expect but really enjoyed. Yeah, like I got to the middle. For those who have read it, you'll know. I got to the middle of the book and I was like, wait, we're already here at this moment. Like, what is the rest of the book about? What is the other 200 pages gonna be about? So that was a fun little surprise. I really liked her like attention to detail as well. There's just a lot you learn about Coriolanus, or I guess we could call him Corio. I think that would be easiest for this. Let's call him Corio. Just, you really get to know him, which isn't surprising. I mean, he's the main character, but you're brought to this difficult point where you're like, you hate him because you know who he is and who he becomes, but you feel yourself rooting for him despite like all of that. And I think that is another testament of a very talented writer. It's difficult to make you it really wasn't like that. A lot of the story was like fully its own, with like a few special things sprinkled here and there. So they were like fun little surprises rather than common occurrences. And I appreciated that. The ones she did throw in were really good. Really good. Another thing I liked is that she definitely takes her time in the beginning of the story. She doesn't rush it, and I think to some people probably it will feel slow. That might be what some people like. One of the things they don't like about it is that the beginning is slow, and I don't disagree, but I like that rather than don't like that. It really, she sets the stage. No pun intended. Okay, let's talk about some of the themes. Similar to the Hunger Games, there is that theme of nature versus nurture, and when your instinct takes over, how it takes over, why it takes over, how some people are more their nature or more their nurture, and it's that whole symbolism of what the Hunger Games represent. When does your survival take over? When does your humanity disappear? When do you start betraying others? How far are you pushed? All that stuff. I also think there was a lot of beautiful, like, nature symbolism with Lucy Graybeard. I feel like she represents like unbridled nature, and I think that's why, like, she sings, you know, she has talent, she has a beautiful voice, but I think the people are so drawn to her because she looks alive. She feels alive in a world that is very gray, in a world that's been sucked of color and of happiness and life. She seems like a star in the dark sky, and people just like rally to her side so quickly. This is definitely not a spoiler because they don't really talk about this in the book, but it's kind of like implied, like by the story itself, that Katniss is a ancestor of Lucy, and you can really see that in how people just support her, and she has that spark, that thing about her personality, that defiance, that rebellious nature, and I think that's cool. It feels like you're meeting Katniss's ancestor, which you literally are, so it's really cool. But you can feel that. It's not just a fact, it's a feeling throughout this story. Okay, I'm gonna take off the sleeve so we can tap on the actual book as I continue chatting. Okay, here we are. This book makes such good sounds. I hope it doesn't like feel awkward that I'm holding this through most of the video, but this is ASMR and book triggers are the best. so well written. It's descriptive, but not too descriptive, not overly descriptive. It definitely keeps you guessing, kind of bringing back to what I said at the beginning about how this story took an arc that I didn't expect. Like, you get so much more than what you think you're gonna get. It really has you guessing, how is this gonna end? Like, what's gonna happen? How do we get to where he is now, to where he becomes, like, there's this point where you're, like, really unsure how he gets out of the situation he's in, and how he, like, gets to where he'll be President Snow. It kind of feels a little hopeless. It kind of feels like, oh, he's stuck, and it's fun to find out what happens. And, like, if you're an avid reader, you might think you can guess what happens. From me, you can't. Like, I thought I was going to be able to guess what happened, and I wasn't. And, you know, that phrase, there's nothing new under the sun, which is so true, which means that, like, sometimes it's hard to be surprised. I was very much surprised. So, highly recommend. I feel like that is my overall statement. My overall statement for this book is that I very much recommend it. Very much recommend it. Even if you're not a Hunger Games fan, as a story, you might really love this. And it really sets up what happens to Katniss. That's the other thing I wanted to say. It so beautifully sets the stage for Katniss's life, and it helps make so much make sense about Snow as a person and his really guttural, like, angry, hateful reactions to things, and how he views ruling people. It all makes sense. It all makes sense. I have a friend, and I don't know if I agree with her, but I'm gonna share this. She thinks that if you've never read The Hunger Games, to actually read this one first, and then the original 3. And I thought that was really interesting, and I just thought I'd throw it out there. For any of you who maybe be watching this and haven't read this series, maybe try that out. That might be fun. I have not seen the movie yet, but I'm going to this week, and it's going to be so much fun. I can't wait to see it. Also, this is one of those things where try to read the book before you see the movie, if you haven't already. It's just so good. It's so good. I feel like there's likely so many things I wanted to talk about that I didn't. So much symbolism that I didn't touch on. But that's okay. Whatever I did miss, if it's something you noticed, leave a good, introspective, thoughtful comment below. I'd love to chat more deeply about this book, but again, no spoilers for plotline, guys. Don't spoil it. Just talk about feelings, thoughts, themes, overarching things, okay? Also, let me know if you enjoyed this video. If you did, I will do like a single book reviews of other popular books. I think that could be fun. But yeah, I am so happy to have finally done this video and shared it with y'all. I've been wanting to do it for months, so